Hello children, good morning. Hope you must have covered whatever I taught in the previous classes. So today let us continue the part 8 of diversity in living organisms. So first let us study with reptilia. So reptiles, no, they the lizards, snakes, crocodiles, okay, so turtles, all are coming under this category. So these animals, they are no just they when they move upon the ground, no, their abdominal portion, it will be touching the ground. Okay, that's why you call them no as reptiles. So these reptiles, what do they have? They have scales on the body. As these are the animals, so they are exposed to land, terrestrial animals. So that's why, so the body should be prevented from drying. So that's why the body is covered by scales. They breathe through lungs. They are cold blooded. I already told you what is meant by cold blooded. Cold blooded means they can change the body temperature according to the surrounding. So most of them are 3 chambered, but the crocodiles, they have 4 chambered heart. They lay eggs, and the eggs, no, they are having the hard covering. So because as they are laying in land, the eggs, it has to be protected. So otherwise it will dry. To prevent drying of egg, the eggs are covered with hard covering. Okay, snakes, turtles and lizards, crocodiles, all are coming under this category. Can you see here flying lizard also there? The lizard, no, they have small structure. With the help of this wing like structure, little bit they can fly in the, they can't fly like bird, but they can just fly from one tree to another tree. That you call that as flying lizard. Next is aves, that is birds. These birds are warm blooded. They keep stable body temperature. They have 4 chambered heart. They breathe through lungs. These animals are feathered animals. Okay, all the body covered by feather, and they have beak also. Okay, so here they have two limbs. The front limb, that is modified for flying, wing, and the hind limb is helpful for walking and standing purposes. So crow, sparrow, pigeon, duck, birds, the difference between birds. Actually the birds, they have some air bags in the body. It is attached along with the air sacs, it is attached with lungs. It is helpful to when you reduce the buoyancy. Because of that, they can fly, they can easily fly. Apart from that, the bones, they are having cavity, inside the bones, they have cavity, so it makes them light in weight, so that's why easily they can fly. Mammalia. This mammalia are warm blooded like birds. They also having 4 chambered heart, and these animals, they give birth to young ones, and they nourish the young ones with milk. So that's why you call them as mammalia. The skin has hairs and sweat glands over the body. The sweat gland is the main characteristic feature of mammals, and the presence of external ear, pinna, that is also the main feature of mammal. So mostly they give birth to young ones, but some they lay eggs, like platypus, echidna, and all they lay eggs. Otherwise most of the animal, they give birth to young ones only. Cat, rat, dog, lion, tiger, whale, bat, humans, all are coming under this category. Okay, the whales, even though they are an aquatic animal, they are coming in this category as they are fulfilling the features of mammals. The same way bat also, maybe they are flying, but anyhow as they are fulfilling the features of mammals, they give birth to young ones and they feed the young ones with milk. So that's why they are coming under this category. Okay children, so next one, let us study regarding the nomenclature. How do we name the animals? So all the organisms, they have been given scientific names, and these names, they're helpful to identify them anywhere in the world. Because each and every language, we call the animals and plants in different way. Every language is having the own name. So if it is like that, it will be a greater confusion. So that's why naming, common name of the animal and plants is much needed. So that's why scientific name is given, and the scientific naming of animals is called as binomial nomenclature. So binomial nomenclature, it consists of 2 parts. So first part is genus, second part is species. For example, Homo sapiens. For your scientific name is Homo sapiens, human being scientific name. Homo is the genus and the sapiens, that is no species. So who proposed this binomial nomenclature? This Carl Linnaeus, one scientist, no. So he started the naming this nomenclature what we name today, no. It was introduced by Carl Linnaeus. He only did, because it is much important, children. So without that, then the scientists from different area, you know, within India itself so many languages, and in the world different languages are there. So that's why common naming of animals, it is much needed. Okay, so that's why all the animals know they have been named on the basis of genus and species. Okay, so you go through all, because in this chapter you get a lot many terms and different examples. So one by one you write and you by heart and practice the spellings also. So when you practice one by one, then it will be easy. So whatever you study, you try to apply and you find out in nature, whatever you see, different animals and plants, what is visible for you, just you observe and try to identify them. That is the easy way. So otherwise, if you are just simply, if you are by hearting the terms and the names and all, it will be difficult for you. So you understand it and apply whatever you studied, then you by heart, then it will be easier for you. Okay, children, thank you. We'll meet in the next class.